right, so I'm starting officially. Hello, everyone. Officially, again, officially, very warm welcome. Very warm welcome to our Mastering the Mental Game series. This is part number 3. And today we talk about let's work on a trading routine. So I would also like to do a quick summary of last week's session, Stop Caring About Money, because this is really utterly important. And this is one of the most important aspects of all. I think if we can fix this, everything else is getting much, much easier in our trading life. So we go through a quick summary here. And then I have prepared, I think, 2 slides. 2 slides, and I want to loop back to a slide that we covered in the first session when it comes to, remember that the bell curve, because that clearly has something to do with like getting into a proper trading routine. And then I also want to go, depending on how much time we have, I quickly want to go into TradeStation and just because we talk about a trading routine, right? Just basically just, again, some of you know my routine in terms of, hey, having a watch list, having kind of a worksheet for, okay, trades that I enter, trades that I want to review, and so on and so forth. So we just basically check what, how can we make sure to have like a proper watch list in place, because this will also help us with our trading routine. So a little bit practical application when it comes to actual trading routine in TradeStation. All right. So let's go down the slide that I prepared here and go to reading view. All right. I asked before we started the recording, guys, okay, what was an aha moment for you guys for in the last session? What resonated with you? What was important for you? What are you something that you're gonna change? And if I first read out loud the comments in the chat, okay, count the R's, not the dollars. Yes, for sure, going to chase after the R's rather than anything else. Perfect. Thank you so much that you're gonna do this. The future is really important. Be master of your emotions and money. Yes, emotions first, money comes at the very end. And Dennis is saying, I was not there last time, but when I read the comments from Rose and Tianis, I can tell the same. Looking for R's and for the dollar amount was a game changer for real. And to look at is as a business was also a step further. Absolutely right. So to summarize last week's session, so you have to see yourself not as a money chaser, but as you have to become an R collector. And then the result will be inevitable, right? The result will be inevitable. If you collect R's, you collect money. It's the same thing, right? And since we keep our risk constant, and this is another factor that you have to determine, you have to fix your risk. You cannot play around with your risk. Otherwise, the whole R collect, and you completely miss out on the whole concept, or you miss the whole concept. It's a project failed, basically. The whole R collecting. If you completely like having one trade with like $1,000, having another trade with $3,000, then having a trade with $500, right? If you kind of flip around and mix around the R's, you cannot become an R collector, because then it's meaningless. It's literally meaningless. So you have to keep your risk constant, very important. And if you keep your risk constant, then you can have then you can also have milestones in place, and you have milestones in place, right? And you only scale up your business, so you only increase your risk. So this is the only time when you change that risk, that one, right, to a higher number. So this is when you the only time when you're not keeping your risk constant, when you're changing, when you're scaling up your business, right? So, and you only scale up your business if your milestones are achieved. Can you scale down your business? I didn't mention that here. It just basically came to my mind. Can you scale down your business? Absolutely. And I did this, I think 2 or 3 times. I scaled down my business because I kind of was a little bit the milestones. I was a little bit too greedy with the next milestone, right? I remember the jump from $800, from $800 to $2,000 of risk. This was at 5 years back. This was too much of a milestone scaling up step. I remember from the most recent one, like 2 years back, from $5,000 to $10,000. This was also too much of a, I didn't think it's going to impact me so much emotionally, right? Especially because I think I had a big losing streak then in place as well. Then this occurred with a losing streak as well. So was not ideal. Now, and then you just scale, right? You scale down again to the milestone you had before where you felt comfortable trading. Now, but overall, that's the only time where you change that risk, right? Otherwise, you just keep it constantly constant, right? Keep it the same. Very important. Otherwise, you cannot become a R collector. And also very important for me, use your money efficient. If you're consistent, and this is like the important part here, if you're consistent, this should be not $20 risk per trade. $20. What is this? Like 20% risk per trade is acceptable, right? We're talking $20. Yeah. Once you're consistent, guys, take $20 of risk. That's the maximum you can take, right? Everyone who read this already might have thought, hey, what does he mean with that? Now you know 20%. So we are trading leveraged asset classes for a reason, right? So we can use our money efficient. So put only the amount of money in your trading account that you basically need to trade the trades that you want to take, not more. And with the rest of the money, put into a long-term do long-term investment, buy real estate, do whatever you want. All right. But use it efficient, really important. These are, I think, the most important takeaways from the previous class. And I think if we can really lift these few bullet points and if we can really adapt this to our trading, I think we are one step further to become emotional free and not chase after the money and not make money decisions which lead basically into becoming very greedy and also fearful and all the bad emotions that we have with trading. Make sense? Any questions left for the money part? No worries, Alex. All good. All right, perfect. So I want to start now this topic, this lesson with some kind of a little bit provocative question, also a little bit, not only provocative, but also something that is mind-boggling for myself, and that we are internally, everyone, like the lead students, right? Us, everyone is asking, we are asking this question: what causes the big gap in the students' trading results? And to rephrase this, we could simplify that by saying, why do we have bad students and why do we have really good students? Why do we have students that achieve easily their 24 hours? And why do we have students that are maybe even, or they are maybe have minus hours, or like meander around between plus minus 0 hours. Where does this huge gap come from? And this is, and if I look at, just to get a few, I don't want to say negative examples, I don't want to expose people. I know obviously, but I don't want to expose the traders here in general, right? Not necessarily in the room, but in general. If we look at, of course, I'm going to mention a few really good examples that I know of. I don't know. I mean, we now have 93 students in total, right? So I don't know from of course, not everyone is sharing the results with us or with me in particular. So I don't know the results from everyone. Obviously not. But what really is mind-boggling is the discrepancy between like students and their trading results. And we really are wondering, where does this come from? Because yes, so of course, one particular reason might be the experience, right? How long they are already in the campus, are they in already? Of course, I get that, right? But if we look at one of the most recent examples, for instance, and all of the three people that I'm going to mention are not in the room today. First is Melanie. She's from Germany. She, I don't want to tell her, I don't even know if she wants that, but she started last year in April or so. I think last year in April or May, I can't recall, I think April. And she came to us in June or July. And she was telling us, and all of us, like, we barely hear from her. She's pretty much independent. She came to us and asking, hey, or telling us, or it was actually a question. I collected already almost 24 hours. It was in June, July, 23 hours in June, July. Do I have, she was aware of the 24 hours. Do I stop now trading for the rest of the years, or what do I do? All right. You might, I mean, you can imagine what I answered. Of course, don't stop trading. That's not the point. The point is that within a year, she managed to get consistent in her approach and were able to collect 23 hours in only a 6-month period of time. Then we had, now just last month, or actually we are still in November. Renee is today also not here, but he's usually in every single session. He collected just in November 18 hours, 18, ladies and gentlemen. He made his year almost in 1 month, and the month is not yet over. I don't know how much. This was actually last week where we had this discussion with Renee. 18 hours. Of course, it's like an exception. That's not normal. But still, there might be students who collected 0 hours in November, right? There might be, and for sure there are students who collected 0 hours in November. And then we have Marcel. I just don't know how many hours he collected, but I think it was like also double digit in starting from October. And this is looping back to the ROI discussion we had. He started first time now trading then agriculturals as well. He funded his IG account with $2,000, and he's now he now closed his soybean meal trade and his account from $2,000 with like the trades that we basically called in the agricultural sessions. His account is now 14,500. So what is that ROI? 850%. So who cares about that? That's how you see, right? 850% in 1.5 months. So what does it tell me, right? But obviously it's double-digit R. Now, these are some good examples, right? Tremendous examples. But the question is, how is it possible that we have this discrepancy inside the campus, right? And this is a big question, right, in general. And I think a lot has to do, yes, it's one point is obviously the experience, right? How long you are, how long you've been trading in general. Like when Tobias joined us, he was trading already 5 years. He was he started trading before I even started trading. He was trading now since, I don't know, more than, I don't know, almost 10, 11, 12 years without Dennis knows. Yes. All right. Yes. So I was not trading in 2013, by the way. Yeah. I started a little bit later, right? 1.5 years later. So depending on when Toby started. Anyway, Dennis knows. So, and then it's, yes, it's the experience factor. And then it's the factor, of course, how much time you can afford spending time trading, and more like, not like when I say trading, with your education. Yes, these are very important factors as well, right? Some people have a lot of time, some people have a little bit less time, but I think most of the biggest factor, I firmly believe, is how you approach the whole topic, trading, right? And this is looping back to the first session of mastering the mental game, to consider this as a business. When do you start considering trading as a business and not like gambling or making money quick, or like a quick rich scheme? That's what I think is the major reason. And I don't know, you guys can obviously comment on that as well, what you think, and your take on that. Would really like to know. But today, obviously, we talk about trading routine. And this is also a major factor, I firmly believe, why someone is maybe, why somebody is like, for them, it's not as a stony road as for somebody else. Because also when it comes to trading, I think these are the major attributes when it comes to trading. That what you see here, you know already my scale from 0 to 1. Are you more on the left side, then you're gonna have a you're gonna have a slight problem. If you're like all the way to the right, I think then you're having an not really stony way, or a little bit stony way to achieve your goals, but it's going to be way more smooth. Because what you have to understand, and again, let me first go one slide back. This part, that huge gap, ladies and gentlemen, this is really important to mention. I almost forgot that. I think it's not about how intelligent a person is, right? It's not about intelligent. It's not about, hey, Rene achieved these amount of R's because he's the most, I don't want no disrespect to Rene, right? That he's the most intelligent person in the campus, or that Julian, who has the best results in the whole campus for sure, is the most intelligent person in the campus, right? I by far, right? And we have to, and I always differentiate when it comes to trading between intelligent and smart, right? And I think these points, these bullet points here, they fall under the category smart and not being intelligent. If trading was about intelligence, I would still be like, I don't know where, right? Because I don't consider myself, like, full disclosure here, right? I mean, honestly speaking, between us, I don't consider myself like the smartest guy in the room. I'm not a rocket scientist, right? We have by the way, we have Tanu, right? Tanu is a rocket scientist, basically, right? He literally is. So when we talk intelligence, then we have much more intelligent people in the room, right? Way more intelligent people than myself. But I consider myself relatively smart because I have these attributes. And I think when it comes to trading, everything boils down to your work ethics, right? I mean, your work ethics is more important than being, sorry, Tanu, right? Being I have made the experience already when it comes to trading. When it comes to trading, it's more, your work ethics are more important than being a rocket scientist, I firmly believe that. And I've seen so many examples of really intelligent people struggling with trading, because it's not about having a very high IQ. It's really not, right? So that's not a factor. It's really not a factor why somebody is crazy, like somebody is crazy successful and somebody is just constantly failing, right? When it comes to trading, we're only talking trading. So I think that trading routine is super, super important. So the question is, first of all, how does your trading environment looks like? And I know students by fact that that's why I use these pictures, that their trading desk literally looks like the one I basically display on the left. They don't even have a trading desk. So it's not about having a trading desk, but they're literally having their laptop, only their laptop, like on the kitchen dining table, where they have dinner, where they have family together, and this is where they're supposed to run a business. Right? Again, we talk about the foundation here. And can you run a business? And then you ask yourself, can you run a business? If we all agree to the fact that trading is a business, and then we have to have that business approach, can you run your business from your dining table? Right? So that's basic. So you should have, right, wherever it is, however, how it doesn't matter how big it is, or if it's a small area, but you have to have a dedicated area where you run your business from. And then it doesn't really matter. In the past, I had a different opinion on that, but now I think technology changed so much, so that's why I changed also my opinion. It doesn't matter whether you run your business from a really good laptop or from a desktop PC. I always still prefer desktop PCs, but overall nowadays, high quality laptops are still are really great. So you have laptops where you can easily connect two screens on that, and that's absolutely fine, or even one big screen, and then you use your laptop screen as an additional screen. But that's and I think that these are basics. But again, I see students, they don't even stick to basics. And then I think it's also fairly important that you treat the device that you're using, regardless whether it's a laptop, a desktop PC, how many monitors, screens, it doesn't matter. But it's really, I think, crucial that this is basically that you not only consider it, that this is that you treat it as your office. So this, because as traders, you don't necessarily need an office, right? So this is your office. So I always wonder that they have their office, basically their desktop, their PC, their laptop, and they have their kids playing games on their laptop, and it's like a family device and everybody can use that device. Again, we're talking about basics, right? If you want to run a business, then let it be your device where you do only your trade, mostly, right? Don't be too, you can have your better half doing some online shopping or, browsing through the web. That's not a big deal, but have that device has to be your office, right? And your office has to be on a desk that is basically your dedicated, kind of can be used as your dedicated office space, because we want to run a business here, right? So the question is, the important points here is that you have to learn how to be organized, structured, disciplined, and ideally having office hours. So now we would go already into, hey, do you have a proper routine and how a routine could look like? And interestingly, this is something that I realized, that whole routine part. This is something that I personally, like, literally never had any issue with. I never even thought about that this could be an issue. Like I had other issues, believe me. Like we have all our own demons that we fight against when it comes to trading. Money was one of my demons that I had to fight with a lot in the beginning. And everybody has different areas where they struggle more. But here, trading routine, I never even thought that this could be like these points that I mentioned. I took them as self-explanatory. I never even thought that this could be an issue. But what I know, since we have the campus and we get more and more students, surprisingly to me, that this it's a big thing for a lot of people. This is a big thing. It's not a right. So right, everyone is different, so that's okay. But it's a big thing. So we have to tackle that, and we have to address this, and we have to also we have to work on how we can have a proper training routine. So I would like also since this is more like a monologue again from my side, I would like to do this a little bit more interactive. So maybe you can also type in the chat, some of you at least, that I can use this a little bit as to address a few points that are interesting. That did you struggle with trading routine? Do you have one? Do you have a trading routine? What did you do? What did you maybe do to overcome these issues? And how does your trading routine now look like, for instance? Because we all, yes, so now Sina is saying, Bernd, certainly I think individual circumstances, context plays a big part. Personally for me, for example, time is really challenging, and time supports consistency, structure, office hours, etc. And you know, it's again self-explanatory that everyone is different, and this is I cannot stress this enough, that everybody had different circumstances, a different lifestyle, different obligations. Some people are bachelor single, some people have families, and you know, some people have a demanding job, some people don't. But overall, I know it's just a phrase, we all have 24 hours, right? The question is, where and how do we squeeze in trading? And now I can really talk about my own experience when I started trading, because again, you might always think that it sounds funny from me saying that, yeah, somebody who has 24/7 now creating a trading routine is easy. Yes, now it's easy. Of course, now it's easy to having a trading routine. But also I was at some point of time in your shoes, and I had a full-time job, a very demanding full-time job, where I not only worked 8 hours, whereas especially at this time, where I sometimes went home midnight, and then to grab some food, I passed by McDonald's and Burger King, and I just had like a few burgers, because this was one of my only meals at that time. And then I went back to the office in the morning, 8 a.m. So I was working a lot. And also at this time, my daughter was born. So I had already like a family to take care of. So having said that, when it comes to squeezing in time for trading and finding time for trading and creating a structure and being disciplined and organize all this around my work life and family life, I know what I'm talking about, right? Now it's different, yes, but before I was in your shoes as well. So that's why I think I think most of us have a daily or weekly routine in place, where you go to work, where you have a regular job. Some of you might travel a little bit here and there, maybe not so much anymore, and especially now maybe the next few weeks, since half of Europe is again closing down. Different topic, but I think more or less most of you guys have a regular, let's call it a regular job. Yes, more or less demanding, but has a regular routine in place. So how do you get, right? How do you make trading here a routine? And this is, I think, where office hours are really important, where you say either in the morning, early morning, or in the evening, you make some space for trading, right? For the analysis purpose. And if you really, let's consider somebody who is really, really busy. If you're not busy, I hope you don't have a problem with that, creating a routine. If you're really busy, I mean, you anyway have to, I mean, I hope you watched Julian's session, right? Because he's a good example for being busy, and he does his analysis mostly during the weekend, and then is following up with the charts once or twice a week. And I think every one of us has a weekend, and nobody is working 7 days a week. So let me just, I just saw a comment, so I can add this into the context here. For me, I eventually, that's Tiana saying, for me, I eventually realized routine doesn't mean spending hours in front of the screen, but be more precise to your specific markets and assets. Yes, very good point. This comes at some point of time as well, right? And we talk about this in a second when we go also into TradeStation. But this is basically how you focus on what you focus on. And this is, you have your trading educational journey, right? And throughout your educational journey, the things that you focus on is of course changing, right? In the beginning, you have to focus to squeeze in time for learning, because you're learning a lot. For you, Tianis, because you're an expert already, right? For you, it's not about, hey, I have to squeeze in time. I have to squeeze in time right now, learning. You don't have to learn. You have to make sure, hey, you focus on the markets that you want to trade. You have these setups ready when they that you have them on a watch list, and when they hit, that you don't miss them, right? This is your task, but the task changed. The tasks are changing throughout your learning journey. Yes, we have to emphasize this. You're absolutely right. We have to address this, but should be also somehow self-explanatory that, yes, in the beginning, when it comes to your office hours, right? And it doesn't matter how many office hours you can you have. Is it on a daily basis? It's twice a week, 3 times a week. It doesn't matter whether it's 30 minutes a day, whether it's like 2 hours a day or 4 hours a week. It doesn't matter, but you have to have that proper routine in place, where when you say, okay, now it's weekend, I have 2 hours. What do I focus on in these 2 hours? Am I in this stage where I have to study a little bit more, watch more recordings of the futures course, of the blueprint? Do I have to do a little bit more charting? Or am I already at the stage where, like Tianis, who is an expert, for him, it's just, okay, scaling up business and getting the R's in, where, okay, I don't have to focus on learning, but more on the trading side, right? This is what you have to obviously yourself have to figure out, but it's kind of should be something that you basically see where you are in your learning journey. Are you confident in collecting R's, in finding good trades, in trading? Do you have proper rules in place? So it's more about, okay, the trading aspect, or are you more like still a little bit lost here and there? And do you have to focus a little bit more on the learning aspect, right? But at the end of the day, it boils down to the same thing, the basics that we just talked in the very beginning, and that you have for yourself dedicated time where you do these things. And you have to be also disciplined, right? So I see already from, and this is just a good example that I always like, okay, sorry for my language now, what the fuck, right? Now, last week we were 22 in the room, right? Last week we were 22 in the room. Yes, important topic, it's about money, so everybody's joining, yeah, a lot of people are joining. Today we can, it's like almost 50% less, right? Is this discipline, right? These people who are missing, is this discipline, right? Is this a lack of discipline? If you ask me, I would clearly say, yes, it's a lack of discipline. Yes, some of them who are not joining today, for instance, right? I take this now as an example because it's just now we can kind of, it's very tangible. And yes, some people might be really busy, but there's might be busy today because of whatsoever, right? Personal circumstances. But again, there's a reason why we schedule a session why you schedule this session on a Sunday, right? And 6:30 p.m. So yes, if you're not like, if you live maybe on the other side of the planet, where it's like a time difference, where we have people as well sitting in Australia or in Brazil who cannot join, that's a different topic. But most people, they live here in Dubai, and also a chunk of students live in Germany. And in Germany, it's weekend. So it's a lack of discipline. For me, it's a lack of discipline, and it's a lack of setting the right priorities. If you want to make this work, right? And if you don't have any pressure, and if you say, yeah, comme ci, comme ça, who cares? Then it's also a different topic, right? But to be disciplined and watching all, again, let's assume you're more like, we talked about, you guys remember, I wanna talk about more like this topic here. So I expect you have to expect the people that are most likely meandering around 0 hours or minus hours even, and we are in November, that these people maybe, right, who knows, personal circumstances are different, but lacking professionalism when it comes to these points, and maybe they are not organized, not structured, not disciplined, and don't have a proper routine in place, right? Let's really be, I don't want to sugarcoat anything, and that's not what mastering the mental game is for, right? Not sugarcoating anything, and really addressing things the way we, or in general, I think that, yeah, we perceive things, right? And we, as I said, we've been there, I can talk from experience, and so on and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is again some really basic stuff, but for some, they might really struggle. So to cut a long story short, how do we tackle that? Make yourself, right, a plan. What I would do, and I think Julian did this as well nicely when I sat through his first introduction session, where he talked about, yeah, well, he has also like a very busy schedule, but he has literally his schedule where he basically, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, that he has a clear calendar where he really adds some where he adds like office hours into that calendar, and this is where he only focus on trading, right? And this calendar also looked really busy, by the way. Now, and this is what I can recommend you to do as well. I didn't have, like, for me, when I was doing it in the very beginning, I didn't have that physical calendar. I was just knowing, okay, I was getting up. Well, I was always getting up anyway, early in the morning, and going to the gym at this particular time when I started off trading. But this is where I had to set priorities, and then coming back to setting priorities. What do you want more? Do you at this particular time, do you want to be fit and do you want to have a nice body, right? Or do you want to make this trading work? And for me, during that particular time, it was clearly, I have only limited time that I have. What can I sacrifice on, right? And we had this already, I think, in the first session. Dennis was a good example where he also said, hey, I have only limited amount of time. I have, Dennis, right? You have different work shifts, right? Evening, and I don't know if you still have this night shift, day shift, and so on and so forth, where you are really busy, and you have to get some time for trading. And you said for you, hey, where can I sacrifice time? What do I don't need in my life? Well, I delete all my social media profiles. This is where I waste at least 1 hour a day, so I can use this time for trading, right? And for me, it was similar, where I said, okay, with all my obligations I have, what can I say? Because I wanted to make this my priority. What can I do to make this work? What can I sacrifice on? And there were two things that I was able to sacrifice on at this time. I said, okay, let me sacrifice on gym in the morning and let me sacrifice on social media. So I did the same thing that Dennis did. And at this particular time, I think for almost 1 year even, I didn't have social media. I went back on social media, actually, I think it was mid 2016, right? But between 2014 and 16, I was not on any kind of platform. Yes, and there was and this was the longest time, I think, in my life where I didn't go to the gym, right? So, because it was always important for me. So this is how much I wanted this to work. Just to give you an idea what it takes if you are busy, and you really want to make this work in the beginning, right? And this will change. Absolutely. And some of you, and I don't want to scare anybody and say, oh, I didn't know this before, I have to sacrifice some stuff and, to make this work, and I don't have time. Well, guys, we talked about this, right? And this has also been talked it's like from the very beginning, it's a business, and to make a business work, we have to put a little bit of effort into this. And that effort comes from, effort usually means we have to make sacrifices, right? And some people have to make a little bit more sacrifices. Some people have to make less. Again, personal circumstances. So Dennis is saying, I can tell you that sometimes it is better to leave some targets behind, others to reach all of them. I made the mistake and I did too much. Working normal job, studying, building and running a business, and want to be a full-time trader. And of course, family time. He's mentioning something really good here. Family time, but no children, and hobbies like going to the gym or else. But that all was too much. And since I structured my day, everything got better. And now my trading results were so much better because I focused the right way to my goal, to my goals. Yes, Dennis, you're saying you're saying something really, really valid. And we have a saying in Germany, I just literally translated. I don't know if this saying exists in maybe the native speaker can help me out here. You were playing on too many concerts. This is how we are saying in Germany, right? Literally translated. You're playing on too many concerts, which means you have too much going on in your life. Get rid of some stuff, right? So you cannot run multiple businesses. It just doesn't work, for instance, right? You cannot start a trading business. You cannot have your job and then maybe you have another business on the side, which you're selling stuff online on eBay, whatever it is. But yes, if you have too much going on, you have to erase some things from the list, right? So that's a lesson, right? That's a lesson you have to learn, or some of you have to learn, I guess, who really want to make this work. So I think that's really actually a really valid lesson. Has anybody anything to add or comment? Because that's That's the very beginning, right? That's the very beginning. Theanis, who is already, right? He's already, like, in some of you as well, are already on the next, facing the next hurdle, which is the next obstacle, which is, okay, I don't have to learn anymore. So how do I do all these things with my trading, basically, right? And how to make sure I cover all the markets and I don't miss any trades. And again, everybody has a different approach here as well, but I now close my PowerPoint here, and I just want to go quickly into TradeStation for the last 10-15 minutes or so. So what is really important is having a watch list, right? And now we are already at a stage where, hey, we don't, right, learning from our side, we can do better, that I, for instance, don't do equity indices or precious metals, and Jan doing the same stuff, right? And you have to watch both me doing the same analysis than Jan, for instance, or Tobias, or whatever it is. So now everybody has their own markets and assets, and they're only analyzing this stuff. So we are trying to, and we are not done yet, right? We are trying to become as efficient as possible. So you can use the time watching lessons, or not only lessons, analysis, right? Chart analysis, basically market analysis, as efficient as possible. All right. So, and as I said, we are not done yet. So there's more in that we have plans. We have to make it more efficient for you guys. But first things first here. Now, what I would always recommend, right, is having obviously a watch list, right? So you guys, it's very simple, right? Having a watch list. So again, very basic stuff, but basic stuff that people are lacking in. So we start with basics, and then we see how can we be a little bit, how can we make it a little bit better, right? How can we be more effective? How can we be more efficient? So having a watch list, right? So let's assume, so very simple, right? Cotton, right? I just, right, it's not like now saying that I want to take this trade. It's just like an example, right? Because this chart is open. So I see a demand zone. So let's assume we said, hey, we want to take this trade. Maybe I said in my soft updates, I want to go this long. So you say, okay, Bernd wants to take this long. Let me put this in my watch list. So now you could do the following, right? You basically copy paste this and create your own watch list, and then you put an alert on this. I hope everybody is aware of this. You put an alert on this, and then you wait when price hits the alert line, then you know something is happening. So now another problem. What is the problem here if we have that? If we have that kind of approach with TradeStation, most probably you're the whole day at work, and you're the whole day at work, and you don't have TradeStation at your working PC or working laptop. And a problem that I was facing in the very beginning as well, I simplified. I just at some point of time, I brought my my laptop with. I just brought my trading laptop to work and opened that. I had this open as well. I didn't care, but of course, not everyone can do that. Now, what I really like to do, and even nowadays, I don't like to have TradeStation open constantly. I don't know. It's just a heavy program, and I only open it when I really need it. So what I basically do for myself, I like just also because I have this on the phone, I create my watch list on TradingView. I don't know who knows about, does somebody not know about TradingView? that you can chart everything on TradingView as well. I think everybody should know. Is everybody not aware of this? I'm not sure. Yes. Oh, perfect. Rose. All right. So amazing, right? So we have somebody who intuitively does it like me as well. I'm not aware of it. So what you do on TradingView, you just create an account. Alarms are great. Everything is great, right? The charting is great. It's like basically, it's like Oanda, right? So what you do is you create an account with TradingView. I'll just bring it here. I just need to just get it ready here. But you can play around with this. So it's all right. So tradingview.com, you create a free account. You don't even need a pay account. And you can basically plot everything, right? You can plot even like, yeah, you can, as I said, you can even do like here, live cattle, right? Live cattle CME futures, you can click on it and you get live cattle, right? And you have the live cattle chart. And even me, who sits most of the day in front of the screen, as a watch list, right? Rather prefer something like this than heavy TradeStation, having like, I don't know, 10 workspaces open plus my workspace and just, and plus my, all the workspaces, plus my watch list and my all like, yeah, all my workspaces that I have on TradeStation. I like to create here, and you can, you see here, look at this, create new list. You can create your own kind of list where you see here, I have one watch list, stocks, placed orders, indices, Forex, commodities, where I just, you see here, you can add the symbols and you can create the lines, draw. It's basically, it's Oanda, basically the platform, right? Where you basically can learn how to here place your lines and even place alerts. And I don't even need alerts. At the earliest, right? Yes, at some point of time for sure we get this as well, but this will take us some time, James. But yes, different coding language, unfortunately. So no. But back to the topic here, you don't even, I personally, I don't even need my alert lines here, because I'm pretty sure everyone, even like in almost every office, you can have your, you have like you can have a browser window open, right? So this should be possible for everyone who is working in an office, right? You can have your browser window open, and you have done a list of a few markets that you closely observe, right? And this is something you have to just, you know, and by the way, they have also nice trading apps. So I do everything. If you see me posting something sometimes, because I'm mostly also on that app as well, because this is how I check my trades that are running. My trades that I have running, I just check the markets itself. I don't go into I personally don't go into my trading app to constantly see my P&L, because it's like has something to do with like not looking at my P&L going up and down constantly, right? This makes you also mentally cuckoo. Me at least, if I see always the numbers running up and down, I don't want that. So I know what I know I'm in what trades I am. I know also that what's currently approximately my risk to reward. I know when price is dropping, what's going to happen, like with my risk to reward, and I know what's going to happen if prices rise, right? You know this anyway. You don't have to get the confirmation by seeing also the numbers. So for me, TradingView has the app as well, where basically if you create the account, you log in with the you basically then also you basically also with the app, you log in with the same credentials. And the beauty about this is that if you change something here now, if I add a symbol here, that this will change then in the app as well, right? When it comes to charting. Now, so I have this always ready on any browser window and on my mobile. So I can always see the mark, because we are anyway always on the phone, or at least we are sitting in front of a screen, and then we can open any kind of Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, whatever you're using, Firefox, it doesn't matter, right? So, and you have then anyway the markets that you are trading right now, that you're, or let's call it that you're watching, that you're following, that you are in trades, or that you're the markets that are coming close by, that are basically, yeah, you have that here shortlisted. Then you don't even need alerts if you are kind of a person who works anyway in front of the screen, and most people do. And if not, then you can, as Camilo said that alerts are great, I think, but annual fee is very small. Or Camilo said, yeah, you see here, alarms are great. Yes, so you can have a lot alarms. I personally don't need alarms. My circumstances are different, but you can play around and try also some of the alarms, and then you get them on your phone as well. And you don't need always that TradeStation to be open 24/7. You just also, like, you don't have to be nervous at work where you say you don't have TradeStation whatsoever. So I have basically everything here on TradingView. So this is how I simplify my routine tremendously, by just getting used to yeah, other tools, not only TradeStation, where I basically, yes, have my major watch list, everything as well. And we talk about this next week when it comes to logging and reviewing, that I have a workspace for trades that are completed in terms of winners, losers, break even, because I want to review them as well at some point of time, so I don't close them and forget about them, right? We talk about this next week, why this is so important. We talked about this in the first session already. We touched on that topic, why it's so important to review trades, right? The keyword here is, I can only improve what I measure. I repeat myself because this is so important. I can only improve what I measure. I can only improve what I measure. You have to really kind of this has to be like kind of incorporated somewhere in your brain, mind, that this is just, yeah, you can only improve what you measure. And if you don't measure anything, then you cannot improve. As simple as it is. This is science, right? So yes, but when it comes to a simple watch list, I use on a daily basis, right? I use TradingView just to, I don't know, it feels like very simple to have some markets open that I'm like to look at, because it's browser based. It's very quick. I can use it everywhere, even when I'm not in front of the screen. I can use it on my mobile, because the charting here is also nice and beautiful. And I have that watch list and also on my mobile. And yes, it's really convenient. I think it's also really convenient for you if you work full-time. Through very user-friendly on the go, right? And then you cannot also then that excuse of two excuses that I really don't accept is, first of all, I don't have time, right? I don't accept that excuse. Yes, we have limited amount of time, but everybody can make time if they want, if they prioritize. I firmly believe in that, right? They can, if they really want to make something work, you can sacrifice something else, right? I don't think you're working 24 hours, right? Nobody does. And the other excuse is, oh, I missed that trade. I also don't let it count, because you can find ways to take a trade. If you really want to take a trade, for sure you can find ways to take a trade. And if it's that you have to set it very early in advance, like other people are doing, it's just not acceptable, right? Because then again, we can loop it back, right, to our slide where we said, let's get organized, let's get structured, let's get disciplined. So you have to find yourself some office hours, some time where you can, and this is, I cannot help you with, obviously, right? Because I think we all can agree on what Sina said. Our life circumstances are different. So you are the master of your life circumstance. So you know best what works for you and what you can sacrifice on and when you can squeeze in that trading. And then it's about, right, that first step is that educational part. And once you're done with that, then it's just about trading, right? And this is now the second part when it comes to trading. And this helps me a lot when it comes to trading, that kind of way, how to have always the handful of markets. I mean, it's more than a handful that I'm looking here, watch list. I have 28 here on my watch list, but it's just like markets that I kind of constantly follow and know that I want to know what's going on. So just aware of that, but you get into that rhythm, I think. Yes, it's way more frustrating to miss a trade than to lose one. I couldn't agree more than, I mean, this statement is so true, right? Because losing is part of that game. We talked about this last time. In the long run, we're gonna lose most probably, or we're not gonna, let's call it, we're not gonna win most probably every second trade in our lifetime. We're not gonna make it work, whether it's break even or whether it's a loser, but 50% of our trades at least are gonna be losers. So so let's make the 50% that the other 50% really make them work, and not only by a lot of hours, right? So missing one is not doing your job, basically. Perfect. I couldn't have said that better, right? And if the one you missed, for instance, is soybean meal, right? I'm just saying that now because it's one of my trades, right? If this is one you missed, then you missed a lot of hours, right? And if you missed soybean meal and orange juice, then you missed half of your year hours, right? Then you missed more than 12 hours. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. And then it boils down to, do you want to make money at some point of time or not? So, and live cat looks now really juicy. But that's the point, right? That's the whole point. So if there's anything specific, right, you want to discuss, you can let me know now in the chat box, because we can wrap up the session now. I took now already more than an hour of your time. I hope you enjoyed the session. If there's anything you want me to address, let me know now, or we meet again next week, Sunday, and we talk about the whole, very extensively, the whole logging and journaling part, because this is also very important. Because again, you can only improve what you measure. You can only improve what you measure. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't look like there is more comments. So thank you again for coming, ladies and gentlemen. It was really my pleasure. And I talk to you guys soon, latest next week, Sunday. All right. Bye-bye.